for the kingdom of God. Opportunities have opened. There are so many of them. And God has opened our eyes to see them. That's how this Monday and this week is going to be. A week full of opportunities, full of great things. Great things are going to happen to us. And that's a beautiful thing about this week, all right? My name is Frederick NJIRI, and this is how we started. President William RUTO has reiterated his commitment to fundraising for churches across the country, stating that he will continue supporting God's work despite criticism. Speaking during a church service at the African Inland Church in Jericho, Nairobi, RUTO dismissed those questioning his continued church donations, emphasizing the importance of building places of worship. During his address, the president also pledged financial support for the completion of the AIC Church, which remains unfinished. At the same time, RUTO defended his broad-based approach to governance, stating that it's inclusive and eliminates the winner-takes-it-all political system.
That the biggest challenge we have had is that spirit of negativity have become more of political players. And therefore we sit back and ask ourselves, if the church, instead of praying, guiding, offering positive criticism, becomes political prayers, who then will become the conscience of society?
Nimeketi chini na Sam, nasikia yeye ndio mwenyekiti wa mipango ya ujenzi, na mimi hapo kwa ujenzi, mimi niko hapo. Nitakuwa hapo. So ile kamati yenu ya ujenzi, mimi nitakuwa member kuanzia, si ndio? Kwa sababu naona kuna kazi bado inatakana ifanyike hapa. Na siombi ruhusa ya mtu. Mimi ni mwana AIC. Si ndio? Na mimi nimefundisha vizuri taratibu ya AIC. So nitafuata, and we are going to work with you to complete this church. So shetani na watu wake wanaweza kukasirika wakitaka, lakini tutajenga kanisa.
Interesting stuff, right? Well, it was beautiful seeing the former President Uhuru Kenyatta, who has asked Kenyans to continue praying for the country and its leaders. Uhuru stated that it was important for Kenyans to pray for those in leadership position. He spoke when he attended a Thanksgiving Mass at St. Joseph Cathedral in Meru County. The Mass was held to celebrate the recent installation of Bishop Jackson Morogara as the coadjutor Bishop of Meru. The former president also spoke about his retirement, stating that retirement was a good thing, especially when one retires when they are strong.
Wengine wanaiona tu, unaona mtu akitembea ati unaona ni mkubwa, unafikiria ukubwa ndio kazi. Moja utembea. Wengine naona wanajionea tayari. Mimi nilikuwa na jukumu la kuunda vikosi vya jeshi na kuwapatia bendera yao ndio waweze kwenda kazi ya kulinda nchi yetu. Lakini mbele ya waende kazi, mimi nikiwapatia bendera na amri, Bishop Mugambi kazi yake ilikuwa kuombea hiyo kikosi na kuombea hiyo bendera. Kwa hivyo kazi yake sio ya hapa Meru, kazi yake ni ya nchi ya Kenya.
It's always good to see the former president. Now, there was a lady who was ameleta shida. I'm talking about former Kirinyaga County Women Representative Wangui Ngirishi, who's now calling on the Kenya Kwanza government to fulfill its campaign promises and complete all the stalled projects in Kirinyaga County. Speaking during a Thanksgiving prayer meeting at Thiba Ground of Mwea, Ngirishi said that many projects initiated by former President Uhuru Kenyatta have stalled after the government diverted funds from them. She demanded that the people of Kirinyaga be included in the development of their county, since they are taxpayers as the rest.
Kuna zile barabara ambayo serikali waliambiliana, si ndio? Kuna zile barabara wakaanza zikafika nusu na hazijaisha, si ndio? Now I'm sending a message and a strong message from these people of Mwea and Kirinyaga County, kwamba serikali waje watumalizie hizo barabara, whatever kilometers are remaining, kama ni ile ya Kajiji, kama ni Gashaki Road, kama ni ile ya Karira, zote wakuje wamalize, because it is something they promised they must deliver. Sindio? Sisi tunataka hiyo. We do not want politics nyingi, sababu siasa si kesho na siasa si next year. We are going to elect to kufanya hiyo elections in 2027. But for now they promise, let them deliver.
Ngirishi used to be in power. She was the women rep in that area. I just hope that she did enough. I'll find out later from some of the people who come from her county, because you know I've discovered that spectators are very good football players. They just never make it to the ground. Now, Catholic bishops say that they will not allow politicians to speak in church, and maintain that politicians seeking to address the Catholic congregations must seek other platforms and not in the church. The bishop who attended the ordination of Archbishop Jackson Murugara, who is expected to take over the Meru and Tharaka Nithi diocese, also said all donations must be received in silence and not be announced.
The standing of the conference, the Catholic bishops, is that we will not have political speeches in our ceremonies. However, we recognize the great honor granted to us by our leaders.
We don't reject donations, but the motto of the bishop ordained today summarizes what we are saying. We are saying good must be done well in silence.
As a bishop, you don't have to go for an election campaign. You don't need, as another bishop said, any church advertisement. You don't have to prove yourself. God has already made his choice. You are his son in whom he is well pleased.
Meanwhile, former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua and his team once again failed to address the congregation at the ACK Church in NJIRI during the ordination of Canon Jeron Bwangi Mureithi as the third bishop of the Mount Kenya region, which was presided over by guess who? ACK Archbishop Jackson Ole Sepit. This is the second time in a week that the former Deputy President has found himself in a service presided over by Sepit, who has denied the politicians an opportunity to address the congregation.
We have maintained what we have given as our direction as Anglican Church, that in the church service is worship, and we are not going to allow any other speeches other than that which the church has organized as part of worship. So this is what we shall maintain, not only in this church, but in all our services going forward. We can do peace crusades outside, because you don't know when the slip of the tongue happens. So we will make all our statement. If we are jointly doing it with the politicians, we will do it outside of the church worship areas.
At the same time, Kenyans have been urged to receive into the community inmates who have served their times, as this is the best way to rehabilitate them back to normal life. Speaking during the ordaining service of Chris Mwangi, who served a 7-year jail term for land fraud, the clergy called on the community to receive people who've been rehabilitated in the prison system and show them love. Chris has completed a theology certification.
Na wakati nilipotoka ilikuwa challenge kubwa sana kwa sababu walikuwa karibu na mimi hawakuamini ilikuwa mistaken identity. Walikuwa wanasema sio kuwekelewa, ni lazima awe alikuwa amefanya. Na kwa hivyo ikawa ni challenge. Kwa hivyo hata ili niweze kukaa katika hii society nilisaidiwa na watu wa kanisa.
Zamani wakati nilikuwa jela nilikuwa najiuliza sasa itakuwa namna gani. Wakati nilitoka nikakubalika, nikasema nitathibitisha ya kwamba mtu ataweza kutoka jela na awe mtu wa maana. Na sasa ninasikia niko na furaha na ninasikia nimebadilika.
Mui huwa mwema, na huo ndio ujumbe ambao tuko na siku ya leo. Sasa mtu ambaye amekaa jela katika miaka 7 na leo ni mchungaji, tunamkubali katika kanisa. Hatutaendelea kumuona kama ule mui kwa sababu mui huwa mwema na kila mmoja wetu. Tukiangaliwa kulingana na kasoro zetu, hatuwezi kubarika.
Now you remember the guy who claimed to be a prophet? I mean, his name is Peter Kimondo, who was accused of sodomizing a guy sometime early, I think it was early this month or a couple of months back. Well, he denied the charges of rape, sodomy, and indecent acts. Kimondo of Christ Impact Church has denied all the charges against him. When he was arraigned at the Nakuru Law Courts, he denied the charges including rape, sodomy, and indecent acts. Now, in a couple of minutes, we'll be doing exactly what you saw there. We'll be looking at the newspapers. We'll find out what the headlines are. And then later on, we'll have some conversation about what is happening in our country. So don't go away. All right, we got the nation here, and the headlines: auctioneers target Kuria. Politician has denied ownership of a UAE registered firm, making big moves in the public and private sector. Save for the court order or payment of an undisclosed debt, the auctioneer's hammer will land on 2 residential buildings owned by former Trade Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria, and anyone wishing to wrestle the 2 properties off the hands of the vocal politician, who's one of the president's economic advisors, will have to pay a refundable 3 million shillings bidding deposit to the auctioneer and then square it out with other potential buyers. Auctioneers are targeting Kuria. They want to take over his property. Then you got Harambee Stars. They went down fighting in a match against Gabon yesterday. At least the little bits and pieces that I saw of that football, I think Kenya tried. They actually could have scored more goals. They went down 2-1. Then the president has promised 3,500 new classrooms in Nairobi. City woman loses appeal for tenfold rise in child support from rich ex-lover. Last moments of taxi driver lured to his murder with a lucrative contract. And then PS faces jail over order to pay ex-soldiers. The High Court has summoned Defense Principal Secretary Patrick Mariru over alleged disobedience of an order to pay 10 former soldiers 68.8 million as damages for torture after the attempted 1982 coup. I remember during that period, that's the first time we were kids. That's the first time we heard of the terminology coup. So us guys were saying coup. Nakwabia. Well, IEBC interviews begin as suitability questions raised. Lobbyists cite breach of law, saying Nyachai and Mdivo should have resigned from state positions. Da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da. How the new 7 PSS will impact the bloated wage bill. Then Uhuru tells leaders to listen to Kenyans as RUTO faces Mount Kenya. It's going to be a tough thing for RUTO in Mount Kenya. Yesterday, there was an ugly incident in NJIRI. The former deputy president had just attended one of those, the ACK, coronization of one of the bishop that was presided by Ole Sapit. And then outside the church, because he was not allowed to talk to the people inside, outside the church he started talking to guys. And shortly afterwards, a local member of parliament had organized the Mongiki goons to come and disrupt, and they actually disrupted the meeting. And the more they are doing this, the more popular this guy is becoming. I don't know somebody's just not thinking. But anyway, thinking is an art that probably has become an endangered species. The back page of The Nation, we will fight to the end. You see President William Ruto and the president had gone to watch Harambee Stars match. And then the Standard tells Ruto, don't trust Raila. Hey, after a court ruled that Azimio was the majority party in parliament, ODM began pushing for the leader of majority seat, but a warning from the National Intelligence Service stated that granting this position could empower the opposition party to pursue the president's impeachment. As a result, President William Ruto strategically backed down and opted to offer other key committee positions instead. Yeah. Then you got IEBC chair interviews kick off today amid integrity concerns. And then Tuju accuses Supreme Court judges of misconduct. And then there's Kenya's pioneering female captain charts new waters. And she looks good, I must say. And then DCI boss probes hours of Strathmore student, or final hours of Strathmore student, Matthew Wandati, who was found dead at a club Mass House on Valentine's Day this year. Then you got police reservists killed in attack by Al-Shabaab, and you're still opening the borders and giving out IDs free. Oh, what a painful feeling. It's a Standard basically dealing with sports, Harambee Stars. Ghost workers gobble millions. About 17,000 ghost workers are still on national government payroll. 17,000. Hey. What? You gotta be kidding me. 17,000 guys are, hey, that's just crazy, man. And then the second page, RUTO defends church donation as NCCK issues new guidelines. Uchumi share price soars to among big five. Uchumi supermarket. Shene. See, this thing had kuft. Am I in Gazette Yawen? Yeah, this is today's newspaper. Ish. I'm telling you. Well, by the way, about these ghost workers, I was being told by a friend of mine who's a pastor that a lady went to him and told him she needed prayers. And, you know, he asked, okay, why? And, well, it turns out that she got a job using fake papers. And she was afraid that, you know, the noose was tightening. And she was very sure that kitaumana. Now, how do you pray in such a situation? Muturi bill plots radical public service reforms. And then the back page of the Star, Stars heartbreak. Kenya's defeat to Gabon ends any hopes of a maiden FIFA World Cup berth. So we were kicked out, we lost, and that was it. We're not going to go any further. Well, let's be looking at some of the things happening in our country shortly, so don't go away.